What's up, guys? This is Dathan, Director of Body Burn, and we're a group fitness and training program that's specifically for women in Kankakee County that maybe are kind of already active, like to work on their fitness and their health, but they've never been able to really put it all together and reach their end goal, reach that place where they're satisfied with what they're doing. One of the really cool things about my program, and one thing that I tried to implement from the start, was we definitely like to address things outside of your weight, how your clothes fit. The more we try to get past those more superficial body image things, and we want to really focus on quality of life. And a big area, a big issue for a lot of my clients is that they deal with aches and pains and stiffness throughout the body that are just sort of common for women, especially as they get up into their late 20s, early 30s. So I'll give you an example of that. I don't have any clients that are hunchback. Never would say that, but everyone that I meet has this tendency to roll their shoulders forward. So that comes from, first of all, breast tissue over the pectorals, drawing your shoulders around. That on top of driving the van and cooking food and tending to the children and sitting at your desk, and by the time I meet you, you're like this, and then your, mother's voice is in the back of your head, stand up straight. So what happens there? The muscles in the front of the body get overly tight, and we're not working on the flexibility that's required to counteract that. Another good example is, especially after a woman has a child, they lose a lot of stability around their lower body core area. So if you've ever been in a situation where you had the kid in one arm and your purse around the shoulder, and you got groceries in your hands, and you're at the front door, and you get your keys out, and you're right here, and then you're stuck because your back just locked up. Right? And that all has to do with where your flexibility is and how your core strength is. So we're going to go through a very brief example of what we might do anytime at the end of a conditioning class or during our flexibility class. The tools, the tricks that we use to keep our clients limber, help them work on those sort of aches and pains, and help them kind of recover from just the daily stresses of life. This is an awesome little thing. I encourage you guys to try this 2 to 3 times a week. And just be prepared for the monumental improvement of quality of life that's going to come from trying this little flexibility routine 2 to 3 times a week. So Coach Heather's here with me. Heather, first of all, we're going to lay down flat. We're going to demonstrate a hip stretch on the left side. So this is my standard. This is where I start with all the time, because what I find is that when people deal with lower back pain, when they deal with instability, when they deal with discomfort, it has to do with what's going on around the hips. So notice that her knees kind of locked out, her legs fully extended here at a 90-degree angle. A lot of people are not going to be able to get their leg even this far when they start. You'll be somewhere down here. What's important is that we don't allow that knee to bend, but we keep it as straight as we can. And then I always encourage you to kind of point that toe down and draw it in. Notice that our left hand is open, so there's a stretch through the outside of the left leg, up through that left hip, left side of the body, out into the left arm and shoulder. Cool, go ahead and switch sides. And so the transition is very simple like that. Good, notice that her knee isn't really locked out, but it's definitely stiff. And the reason for that is you have to maintain that sort of rigid posture to create the tension that's required to get a good stretch. If her knee bends or if she allows it to go slack, then she's not really stretching, she's just kind of laying down at an angle. Go ahead and sit straight up, leg straight, take that left leg, cross it over the right, plant the foot. Now twist against that. Drive your chest up. Again, we're focusing on the hips. The key to this stretch is getting that foot planted. Notice that she doesn't allow her shoulder blades to round. She doesn't allow her chest to drop, but she drives her chest up. Always maintain that good posture. Go ahead and switch legs. This one can be tricky at times. Make sure that your body is twisting opposite from the direction that your leg is going, if that makes sense. When in doubt, just refer back to the video. Cool, with both legs straight. Reach back behind you, point your arms back, getting back to that posture, shoulders sort of deal that we have. What happens a lot of times, again, is the chest gets overly tightened in the shoulders, and especially once you start working out and adding in weight training, a lot of this stuff can really start to come out. And what we see oftentimes is that ladies are having shoulder problems or pain or injury, and it always comes back to the flexibility. So that overly tight front of the pectoral, front of the deltoid is being stretched out as she reaches back. Vitally important that we creep crawl as far back as we can. And notice that our hands are pulled in. This allows her biceps to get engaged. So if you're having trouble in the front of your shoulder, good chance that your biceps are a little overly tight, along with some other things. So you want to make sure not to overlook that. Cool. Now reach out towards your toes. Very simple stretch here. Do your best to maintain that good posture. If you have to do excessive rounding of the back to reach your toes, then chances are you're just rounding your back and you're not getting a good stretch. So if you have to round your back to get out there, I would say don't go all the way out to the toes. Maybe stop at your ankles. Cool, go ahead and lay out on your left side. So I'm going to have you grab your right foot behind, back. So the key to this one is to keep the right knee or the whatever leg you're holding, keep that knee down, touching the other leg. We don't want to be too tough around that knee joint. We want to be sort of gentle, but as she does this, and then even if she wants to move the tension up further into her body, she can kind of pull it back like that. Go ahead and let that leg down and switch legs. Roll over, I'm sorry. Once again, she pulls that leg back, keeps it down. Very relaxed here. Just allow your body to loosen up, allow it to stretch. Cool, Heather, I'm going to have you take it up to a standing position. Go ahead and we'll face the mirror here. Keep your feet about shoulder width apart. And I'm going to face this direction. Can you see me? Yeah? Cool. So when we do this sort of toe touch, what did we always do in school? We just sort of fell down and stood up, or waiting for practice or whatever, like, I don't want to run these sprints today. But this isn't stretching, okay? So we want to focus on, the purpose of this toe touch is to get some stretch in the back of the hamstrings and your glutes, right? To ease up that tension again that's going on right around your lower back. So knees are slightly soft. I arch my back, drop my shoulder blades, and reach down. And the key here is I only go as far as I can while keeping my back straight. I don't allow this to happen, because once this happens, I lose the tension here, right? So you see Heather's doing a good job maintaining that. Good, go ahead and take that left leg, cross over the right. This one's tricky. The hardest part is maintaining your balance. So with her right leg behind, whatever foot is behind, the right hip goes out, right hand goes up, around, and down towards that right toe. Forcing a stretch down the right side of the body. Go ahead and untangle yourself. And the other side. Left hip goes out, left hand goes up, around, and down towards the left toe, which is behind. Did I say that right? Maybe not. I always get my rights and lefts confused. Cool. So whether it was your left or your right foot, I'm sure we did it right. Awesome. So these simple stretches, guys, we're going to list them above for you. Listen, I don't claim to be any sort of expert in flexibility training, but what I do know is that if we don't take diligent practice, if we don't maintain a discipline with flexibility in the same way that we have to be disciplined with our training and disciplined with our nutrition, then we're not going to get to our end result. You're going to get slowed down and hit road bumps every time you run into injury, and you very well may come to a place where you think the aches and pains that I live with aren't worth the pursuit of my fitness. So let's nip that one in the butt right now and start working on this. All right, if you guys have any questions, let us know, inbox us, and we appreciate your time. Thanks.